Okay, good morning. And let me start out by saying, when you're in law enforcement, the men and women in law enforcement always think they're tough and they've seen it all. But I guarantee you, when you see an infant, newborn infant floating in the ocean that somebody has discarded like a piece of trash, it tugs at your heart. So, the dedication and the people involved in this case is really exemplary. You can't do these alone. It takes an organized effort and the partners that you develop along the way over the years. And we've been fortunate because we have a lot of great partners that we work with to solve these type of cases. And I'm going to acknowledge them, and it's no particular order. Of course, you have the special units from the Sheriff's Office. The crime lab was very instrumental in this, as long as the forensic scientists. The medical examiner's office, we always are working cases with them every single time. The U.S. Marshal's office, we've got a great relationship with them on tracking people down. Of course, the state office has to prosecute the cases, so they've been along and been on board the whole time. The Special Victims Unit is the one that started this case out and worked it to the end along with our partners here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn this over to Captain Stravelli, let him walk you through it. At the end, we'll let you answer some questions, and then I'll make a couple closing remarks. Captain.
Thank you, Sheriff. My name is Stephen Stravelli. I'm captain here at the Sheriff's Office, and one of the areas of responsibility that I have is the Special Victims Unit. I'm very, very happy and proud to be here today. It was 4 years ago that I stood in front of these same cameras and asked for the public support and trying to figure out what happened and who this unidentified child was. And I'm very, very happy to announce that today we have all those questions answered, that it's due to the remarkable work of multiple employees at the Sheriff's Office, as well as other agencies, as well as our brilliant laboratory scientists and prosecutors. I would be remiss if I didn't announce that the lead detective for this case is here, and I'm going to let her come through here and tell you a little bit about how she developed her case. However, I'll just give you some background here. On June 1st, which is how we arrived at the name Baby June, this young unidentified child was found floating in the ocean off of the Boynton Inlet. It was gut-wrenching to all of us and the community as well, and we worked and did everything we could to make this investigation go. We checked every child born in Palm Beach County and in Broward County with their support, and we ended up with nothing. None of the tips that we received were fruitful or helped us. We did get a lot of calls, however, nothing was relevant. And so the cold case squad took, which is where Detective Christoffel stepped in. It's tough. We roundtable these cases all the time, and we were starting to look like we were heading towards a dead end until the brilliant work of our PBSO crime lab, and then the excellent work of Detective Christoffel and the rest of her partners and team. And we were able to identify first a father, spoke with the father, and then were able to later identify the mother, and then proceed to establish a case as to what happened. So with that, I'm going to allow Detective Christoffel to come up and explain to you how she developed her case. Thank you.
Okay. Hello. Christoffel, Christoffel. So when I received this case, we had just gotten the lead generated from the crime lab about a potential father. We got the DNA from the father. He was very cooperative. He knew nothing about the baby. He knew that he had a girlfriend around that time that told him that she had been pregnant but had taken care of it. He was thinking she perhaps had an abortion. He ended up being the father. We had that DNA tested, and we learned he was the father. So now we had a suspect as to the possible mother. We first decided to confirm that she was the mother. So we were able to obtain a covert DNA sample from her and confirm that she was the mother. Over the next several months, because we believed at the time that the father did not have anything to do at the time that he didn't have anything to do with how the baby ended up in the inlet, we decided to just build this case against the mother without notifying her at all. We were able to get search warrants for phone records, for GPS data location. We were lucky to even get that from 4.5 years ago. We learned that she was at the Boynton Beach Inlet on May 30th, 2018, so to about 40 hours prior to when we located this baby. We learned other facts. Google search history about the Boynton Beach Inlet. She searched for local news for days and then the month after. She did see the first articles on June 1st about 5 p.m. about she's never come forward in all this time. So today we conducted an operation where we took her into custody. We interviewed her. We interviewed several friends and family members, and just to find out what anybody knew, if she told anybody at all. And that's how we came to the conclusion that she's the mother and that she was solely responsible for the baby ending up in the Boynton Beach Inlet.
Did she confess?
Yes.
Wait till the end.
Okay. Okay, I don't have anything else. That's it.
You want to talk?
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Dave Ehrenberg, attorney for Palm Beach County. The death of baby June was a terrible tragedy for our community 4 years ago, and it was compounded by the fact that we could not hold anyone accountable for it right away, that this case became cold. But because of the outstanding work of PBSO, Sheriff Bradshaw and his team, the cold case team, today is a good day for justice. I want to recognize Reed Scott, who's here with me today from our homicide division. He leads our homicide division. He worked with Detective Christoffel on warrants. Together with a partnership we have with PBSO, we're able to come to this day. The defendant will be charged with first-degree murder. And because it's now a pending case, that's about all I could say right now. But I want to thank Sheriff Bradshaw and his amazing team. And they just continue to do outstanding work using advanced technologies to be able to hold wrongdoers accountable for their actions here in our county. And we're proud to be a part of that.
Okay, now it's question time.
What was her motive for wanting to kill the child?
Okay. According to the mother, she didn't know she was pregnant up until the time she gave birth. And she said that when the baby was born, she wasn't sure if the baby was alive or dead. And that was that. By the time the baby went into the inlet, she was already deceased.
Detective, can you outline the nexus for this scientific detective work, where it started? I assume it started with the initial DNA you had from the victim.
Right. And
How did it branch out to father and mother?
that would be more of a question for Julie Sikorsky. She is the must say supervisor, right, of the crime lab. And so, from my understanding, we have a forensic investigative genetic genealogy program that was just being started. This was the pilot case for it, and they were able to find a family member and then narrow it down to a closer family member to the baby.
You mentioned a covert DNA sample. Can you elaborate on that? How did you obtain that?
We're going to let her talk.
Okay.
All right?
Oh, yeah, that's
Answer your question.
Julie Sikorsky. I am the forensic scientist supervisor of the forensic biology unit. This case, we did develop a profile from the deceased child. It went into CODIS, which is the National DNA Index System, and we had no matches. We searched for family members or relatives in that database. So over the years, we continued to work on this case. Investigative genetic genealogy or forensic investigative genetic genealogy is a newer technology. It was used to solve the Golden State Killer case out in California. So we wanted to bring that here to PBSO and the citizens of Palm Beach County. So this was our pilot case. We received the DNA. We uploaded it into a publicly available database called Family Tree DNA. We received a close relative, just as the detective said. We rebuilt the family tree, and they close relatives and then establish the link to our suspect today.
How will you be able to get the name? Is this technology allowing you to solve cases like this quicker? In the past with cold cases, like how long was it taking?
So as far as the time frame on a case like this, traditional genetics, STR analysis, the DNA that we do now is still very, very quick. We don't know how long these cases will take to solve. It depends on how much information is available in these databases we're searching, as well as records available. And so sometimes these cases can be solved within a day, or it may take weeks to months to solve.
What is the baby's mother's name?
Her name is Araya Singh,
How do you spell the first and last name?
Arya, and her last name is Singh. She's 20 years old.
At the jail.
I do.
Now, there's a probable cause that's got all that
yeah.
information in it.
I don't remember the
We'll
date.
get you a copy of it.
We're going to have that until first appearance tomorrow, that's what I was asking.
4893? I think it's 4893.
Do you know if she has any other children by any chance?
She does not.
What does it mean to you that this case is coming to an end?
Just relief. We finally can lay this baby to rest. There's been a lot of question marks surrounding her death, and now we have an idea of what happened to her, and so we can finally lay her down.
Did the mother discuss why she chose that location to dispose of the body?
She likes that area. Nothing more.
Did she just simply drive up there one night and say, okay, this is it, and then she kind of tossed the baby into the water, or how did this unfold?
She didn't know what to do with her, and she still had her with her, and she just decided that that's where she was going to dispose of her.
Did she reveal if she talked about this plan with anybody else, or was this just,
She said she did not.
And what was her reaction when you caught her?
She was very nervous, mostly worried about herself and her future. That was basically it, scared. At her home.
And then, so can you talk a little bit more about the covert DNA sample? So you met the father, interviewed the father, he identified Mrs. Singh, and then from there, just walk us through what happened next.
We just found a piece of garbage that she discarded, and we took that, and that was her DNA. But we did get a new profile, a new standard from her, just for confirmation purposes.
There
But
was a reward in the case. Does anyone then receive this reward or not?
I can't answer that. No, nobody came
Maybe
forward.
just Julie.
Yeah, really, it was the crime lab. So
Was the baby alive when she was put in the water?
that would be a question for her, but we believe yes.
Did she give birth at
CODIS, is that the father of someone else?
Oh, no, he's not in CODIS. Nobody in CODIS.
Sounds like you handled cold cases.
Yes.
My guess is you don't get a lot of great successes, or do you? I don't know, but I don't know what your personal opinions are. It sounds like such a long, intricate road to get to this point, and one that probably hasn't been traveled from law enforcement here. Before. I mean, how satisfying, what are your thoughts about how this has been to this day?
I mean, cold cases are able to be solved. Sometimes they do take a long time. You see some that are 10, 20, 30, 50 years old, but with DNA, new DNA technology, and just, I guess, tenacity, just talking to people, finding information, that just helps these cases get solved. And yes, it's very satisfying to be able to do that, but mostly we just haven't really known what happened to this baby for 4.5 years, so it's nice to have some answers there.
And did she give birth at a hospital?
Not that we know of, not that we believe.
Did the baby have a different name?
No, she never named her.
Okay, so you don't think she gave birth at a hospital? Did she identify when she left her? So that it was, she left her at the end of May 30th. Do we know when she was born? Like, do
She
we
was
know-
born on May 30th.
She was born on May 30th. So that's
Yes.
so she was a day old, 2 days old when you found her.
Yes. So May 30th, she was born. We found her on June 1st.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you got anything else? Nope, good. Okay, you can do some side interviews and ask some more in-depth questions. Yeah,
I just have one quick question. You've had extensive law enforcement experience. I mean,
yeah.
entering,
Just a couple of years, like 50.
we're entering a new realm here, right?
Oh, absolutely.
What are your
Yeah.
thoughts about where,
When I was a working detective, you were lucky if you got fingerprints. And then you were lucky if somebody could match them up. So it's a whole new world. as far as technology is concerned and science. We're fortunate that we have people here that understand it, can use it. So you can pretty much figure this won't be the last time we're going to use it, without a doubt.
Yeah, what message does that send to other criminals or people who think they've got it
Well,
away?
that's a great question. Here's the message for the community. Number one, if you're a victim, we're never going to leave you behind. All right? We've solved cases recently that were 25 years old. So we're never going to leave you behind and forget about the fact that you're a victim. Now, if you're the person that did this, we're never going to forget about you either, because we're going to come and get you and bring you to justice, regardless of how long it takes. So if you think that you've gotten away with something and you're that smart, forget it. We're going to keep cracking on it until we find you and bring you to justice. So the community needs to know that. We're not going to leave anybody behind, and we're going to go get the people that did it, for sure. One at a time, one at a time.
Is there, like, how much, is there a number as to how much was invested in this investigation?
No, we've never really stopped to think about that. We don't care how much time we got to invest or what it costs. The victims that are in the county deserve 100% of what we can give them, and that's what we do. You know, whatever it costs, it costs. And we go from there. Where was the other?
Details coming out in this case, are you looking for any more people to come up, say if people, I know a lot of fishermen congregated at the inlet, maybe someone saw someone throw something in the water, are you still looking for?
No, I think the detectives, they've done a great job on getting what they need. Of course, if anybody's out there that's got any information or can be an eyewitness, we'll certainly talk to them. But the detectives in this case have done a fabulous job. One more.
Were you able to retrieve any surveillance video from that day in the inlets?
No, not that I know of.
What city does she live in and what does she do for a living?
I'll let you ask that afterwards.
So we talked about how this technology had been used before in the California case. Is this one of the first known cases nationwide where this technology led to, or one of the first big cases?
Well, I don't think it's the first one nationwide. I think it's the first one in Florida.
First one here for our agency.
Yeah, it's the first one here that we know of in Florida. The other one was California. But I suspect that more agencies that have high-profile cases or cases that were thought to be unsolvable. I mean, we had a lot of people at the beginning saying, you got nothing. You'll be lucky if you ever find anybody in this. Luck hasn't got anything to do with it. It's the partnerships that are here, the people that we work with. Like I said, this is not one singular agency working towards this. This is all the people that you see behind me, all the people that I mentioned, right, to get this done. Okay, thanks. If you want to do some side interviews, grab who you need, and we'll go from there.